All right, today we're pulling back the curtain on the political operation of Colton Moore. He's a pretty controversial state senator out of Georgia who's managed to build this huge national brand basically on confrontation. But behind all the headlines, there's a really sophisticated political machine, and we're going to show you exactly how it works. You really don't have to look far to see just how polarizing this guy is. I mean, listen to this. Those are the words of his own party's governor, Brian Kemp. He didn't mince words. He called Moore's fundraising tactics a grifter scam. That's a stunningly direct shot from one Republican to another, and it really gets right to the heart of what we're talking about today. So that begs the question, right? Forget the name calling for a second. What's the actual architecture here? How does he manage to turn all that conflict into cash? Okay, before we dive into the nuts and bolts of the machine, you gotta understand the brand. Colton Moore has very carefully crafted this public persona. He's the Reno Wrangler, the anti-establishment warrior fighting against anyone he thinks isn't conservative enough. And believe me, this brand is built on a nonstop highlight reel of controversy. I mean, in just a couple of years, he's been kicked out of his own party's Senate caucus, he's been banned from the House chamber, he even got arrested trying to defy that ban, and he's been fined for campaign finance violations. But as you're about to see, this isn't just random chaos, it's all part of the strategy. So how do you turn all that political drama into dollars? Well, let's get into the mechanics. His operation isn't just one simple campaign account. No, it's a sophisticated three-gear money machine, and it's designed for maximum fundraising and maximum impact. Okay, so Gear 1, think of this as the shiny, public-facing part of the operation, the podium. This is his official campaign committee, Colton Moore for Congress. It's the front door, you know? It has to play by the strict FEC rules. It can only take hard money, which means no corporate cash and a hard cap of $3,300 from any one person. Clean, regulated, and straightforward. All right, now we get to Gear 2, the megaphone. And this is where things get a lot more interesting. This is his Wrangler pack. Now, a leadership pack isn't just for his own campaign. It's designed to be an ideological weapon. It lets him go on the attack, give money to his allies, and basically build his brand way outside of his own district. It's a much more aggressive and flexible tool. And that brings us to the final and honestly the slickest part of this whole setup. Gear 3, the funnel. These are his victory funds. Now, these are legal tools, joint fundraising committees, and they have one primary purpose: to capture the whales, the really big donors. A wealthy supporter can write one huge check, and the victory fund just automatically carves it up, sending the legal maximum to the campaign and then funneling the rest right into the pack. So when you put it all together like this, you can really see how it all works in sync. The official campaign gives him a national platform. The Wrangler pack is that darker channel for aggressive ideological fights. And the victory funds are there to reel in the big fish. See, each part of the machine is built to get around the limitations of the others. It's the kind of complex structure you'd expect from a seasoned DC insider, not someone who calls himself an outsider. So, you've got the machine, but what fuels it? What makes the gears turn? Well, this machine runs on one thing: outrage. Let's break down what we're calling the outrage to cash pipeline. And it's not random. It's a formula. A simple, four-step loop that is just rinse and repeat. Step 1, provocation. Moore picks a very public fight. Step 2, sanction. The establishment hits back, usually by punishing him in some way. Step 3, amplification. His political machine, especially that Wrangler pack, blasts the news everywhere, painting him as a martyr for the cause. And finally, Step 4, inflow. The fundraising emails go out, and the small dollar donations just pour in from all across the country. For this machine, getting punished isn't a failure, it's a payday. But here's the thing. Where is all this cash really coming from? Because this is where the story takes a much darker turn. We have to talk about the fuel for this machine and the shadow of fraud that's hanging right over it. You see, Moore's operation is plugged into this whole parallel universe of businesses and political groups that some people call the Patriot economy. And one of the key players in this world was a company called First Liberty Building and Loan. $140 million. Just let that number sink in for a second. That is the alleged size of a massive Ponzi scheme that the SEC says was run by First Liberty. And who did they target? The SEC says they went right after Christian and MAGA investors, the very same base, the very same people that Colton Moore claims to be fighting for. And this chart, wow, it lays out where the SEC alleges some of that money went. We're talking over $1 million to various GOP committees, more than $162,000 to Moore's closest allies, and right here, $28,000 in contributions went directly into Colton Moore's political machine. So, what do you do when you find out your campaign took money that was allegedly stolen from your own base? Well, you've got two choices, really. On one side, you have Georgia's Republican Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. Once the fraud came to light, he returned the contributions. And then you have Colton Moore. His response? He stayed silent, and he kept the money. So when you step back and you look at the whole picture, from the insider machinery to the tainted money, you're left with this huge, glaring contradiction right at the center of his political brand. We're calling it the Patriots Paradox. Let's just spell it out point by point. First, you have the outsider who's using the exact same insider tools like leadership PACs and victory funds that the DC establishment uses. Then, you have the defender of the people whose entire operation is at least partially funded by money allegedly stolen from those same people. And finally, you have the crusader who has perfected a system for turning political conflict into a predictable and very profitable business model. And that's what it all comes down to, isn't it? It leaves us with one final, really big question. When outrage becomes your currency and when accountability is treated as totally optional, what is the real cost of this patriot economy?